The world descends into chaos when swarms of monstrous reapers erupt from massive holes across the planet, wiping out most of humanity within weeks. Military forces try and fail to stop them, and in just a month 95% of the population is gone. The few who survive retreat to the mountains, the only places safe from the creatures, which cannot climb higher than 8,000 feet. Survival means living high. This is elevation. High in the Colorado Rockies, a small community endures by farming, hunting, and carefully rationing electricity. They keep in touch with other groups using signal flags, reserving radio transmissions strictly for emergencies. 3 years after the fall, Will lives in Lost Gulch Refuge with his son, Hunter. Will's wife, Tara, died during a mission with a scientist named Nina, who had been searching for a way to kill the Reapers. Hunter, born prematurely and battling a lung disease, depends on an oxygen machine every night. Isolated and restless, he longs for a life that feels normal. One morning, curiosity draws Hunter below the safe altitude to spy on a nearby colony. His labored breathing catches the attention of a Reaper, its red light locking on him. He sprints uphill and reaches safety just as a tentacle lashes out. Will's relief turns to anger as he warns Hunter that his weak lungs could give out at any time. Beneath the frustration lies his own guilt over losing Tara and his fear of losing his son as well. The next day, Will goes hunting with Katie, Tara's closest friend. She tells him she knows Hunter ventures downhill because he misses having friends, and Will admits the boy also visits the last place he saw his mother. Together they bring down a deer, another hard-won step in the fight to survive. On their way back, they come across Nina testing bullets on a fragment of Reaper scale. She explains that the scales produce an electromagnetic field and believes she can create ammunition capable of piercing them. Yet the settlement regards her with suspicion. A year earlier, she returned from mission alone, while Tara and the rest of her team never came back. That night, Hunter suffers a severe attack. His oxygen filter is spent, forcing Will to give him an emergency injection just to keep him breathing. Their supply is almost gone, and without new filters, Hunter will not survive. Determined to save his son, Will decides to travel down to Boulder in search of replacements from the hospital. Under the cover of darkness, he approaches Nina. She hesitates, still haunted by their last mission and the dangers that lurk below. Will presses her, telling her Hunter's life depends on it and that she owes it to Tara's memory. After he leaves, Nina is overcome with guilt, recalling the moment she watched Tara and the others die. That memory drives her to join him. By morning, Will is at the armory gathering ammunition, food, and even a small pack of macaroni and cheese, Hunter's favorite. Katie overhears his preparations and insists on coming, despite Will's warning about the risks. She argues that they will have to face the Reapers eventually. Before leaving, Will promises Hunter he will be back in 5 days, the same promise Tara made before she left and never returned. The group sets out along the Elba Fire Road, hoping to keep their time below the safe zone as short as possible. Tension simmers between Nina and Katie, one blaming the other for Tara's death, the other accusing her being too close to Will. On the main road, they come across a wrecked military convoy. Will retrieves a grenade launcher, which Katie claims with confidence, while Nina pockets a fragment of Reaper scale for her research. As they press on across open fields, wild horses roam freely, a stark sign of how nature has reclaimed the land. They reach an abandoned ski resort and plan to use the lift to reach the next summit before a Reaper catches up to them. Nina activates her homemade compass, designed to detect the creature's electromagnetic field. The needle suddenly jumps, a Reaper is close. Katie wants to run, but Nina warns there is no time. Will dashes to the control room to start the backup generator. The creature closes in fast. Katie fires a grenade, staggering it but enraging it further. Will powers up the lift, and he and Nina leap onto a chair. Katie climbs a pole and jumps aboard just in time. A tentacle lashes out, striking the cable and sending the lift into violent swings. All three are thrown off but scramble to their feet and sprint across the safe line. The Reaper stops at the edge, proving once again it cannot climb higher. That night, they take shelter in a resort cabin. The silence between them feels heavy, filled with truths neither can ignore. As they settle in, Nina begins to explain what she has learned. When the Reapers first appeared, humanity never had time to discover their weakness. Conventional weapons were useless against them. She had observed that they never eat their victims, never sleep, and ignore animals altogether, leading her to believe they are not natural predators, but engineered killing machines built for the sole purpose of eradicating humans. Will's mind drifts to his last argument with Tara. He had tried to stop her from joining Mina's mission, but she insisted that sooner or later they would run out of oxygen filters and would have no choice but to fight the Reapers. The memory stirs the guilt and anger he's carried ever since. By morning, they reach the entrance to a mining tunnel that Will remembers from his past. It cuts through the mountain, but dips below the safe altitude for part of its length. Nina is furious he never mentioned it. She warns him that Reapers often emerge from underground, can see in total darkness, and are able to detect human breath. Inside, her compass will be useless due to electromagnetic interference. Even so, there is no alternative, and the group puts on helmets before stepping into the pitch-black tunnel. At the far exit, they find the door welded shut since the first wave of attacks. Forced to move deeper underground, they keep their flashlights low to avoid drawing attention. A faint, echoing noise follows them. Katie fires a grenade to block the path, but it only slows their pursuer. They squeeze into a narrow crack in the rock and turn off their lights, holding their breath as a tentacle snakes in, searching for the trace of carbon dioxide. Thinking quickly, Will lights a flare and hurls it, distracting the creature long enough for them to push farther into the tunnel. Katie leads the way, but suddenly comes face to face with another Reaper lurking in the dark. Its tentacle strikes, impaling her before she can react, and drags her into the shadows. Her screams fade until there is nothing but silence. Shaken and grieving, Will and Nina climb a final set of stairs and emerge into the daylight, carrying the weight of her loss. That night, they find refuge in a ranger's cabin high above the danger zone. While searching the shelves, Will finds a box of macaroni and cheese, a reminder of Hunter's favorite meal. In the morning, Nina shares a new theory. Reaper scales generate a magnetic field, and she believes that coating bullets with magnesium oxide could allow them to pierce the scale, triggering an electromagnetic explosion inside the creature. Will is skeptical, convinced that Tara died chasing the same idea. Nina admits it is still unproven, but refuses to abandon the work, driven by the need to find a way to kill the Reapers. Their conversation reopens old wounds. Will confesses that blaming her has always been easier than facing his own guilt for letting Tara go. In turn, Nina reveals her own loss. Her husband and 2 children were killed when the Reapers struck while she was working in her lab. That grief has fueled her determination ever since. With their resolve strengthened, they take the ranger's truck and head into Boulder. At the hospital, they move cautiously through the darkened halls. Most of the shelves have been stripped bare, but in an operating room Will finds oxygen tanks and the filters Hunter needs. As he gathers them, Nina hears the vibrations of a Reaper closing in. The walls tremble as it forces its way inside. They race upstairs, but a tentacle smashes through the wall and seizes Will. Nina swings an axe, severing the appendage and pulling him free. In the chaos, Will spots the oxygen tanks and orders Nina to take cover. When the Reaper charges, he fires at the tanks, triggering a massive explosion that blasts the creature out of the building. The blast only stuns it, and both know it will return. Nina insists they must go to her lab at a Department of Energy facility to retrieve the chemicals needed for her experimental ammunition. Will argues they should return to Hunter, but Nina warns that without a weapon capable of killing the Reapers, the boy's filters will eventually run out. After a tense moment of silence, Will reluctantly agrees. Back in her old lab, Nina moves through familiar corridors that feel frozen in time. She quickly gathers magnesium oxide and other materials, heating the mixture to create a coating that will cling to bullets. While she works with steady focus, Will searches the nearby office and comes across a family photo, realizing for the first time that she once had a husband and children. Their conversation drifts toward the past. Nina admits she was away at the lab when her family was attacked, and the memory haunts her every day. Will confesses that he still blames himself for letting Tara leave, knowing the danger she faced. In that quiet moment, they begin to understand that their guilt, though born from different choices, carries the same weight and the same emptiness. When they test the coated bullets for the first time, the results are disappointing. The Reaper's scales remain untouched. Frustrated, but unwilling to waste more time, Nina urges Will to take the oxygen filters back to Hunter. He refuses, unwilling to leave her alone, but eventually concedes and begins the journey home. Hours pass before Nina's compass signals movement. A Reaper is closing in. She quickly alters the formula, adding cobalt, a metal used in heat-resistant magnets, and connects the rounds to a car battery to give them an extra electrical charge. She coats the bullets in the cobalt-magnesium mixture, drying them with a torch just as the creature crashes through the wall. Without hesitation, she fires. The bullet punches through the Reaper's scales and triggers a violent electromagnetic reaction, tearing the creature apart from within. As its body falls, the truth becomes undeniable. Beneath the shredded armor is no flesh, only wires, metal frames, and alien-like machinery. The Reapers are not living beings at all, but machines designed with advanced technology to hunt humans. Meanwhile, Will races up the mountain with the oxygen filters. His truck lurches violently when a tire bursts, flipping onto its side and throwing him to the ground. Dazed, he hears the roar of a Reaper and grabs the backpack, running uphill as two of the machines close in. Tentacles lash toward him, forcing him to weave and stumble through the rocky slope. His lungs burn, his legs weaken, and just as he nears the safe altitude, another Reaper blocks his path. With no other option, Will raises his weapon and fires, knowing the shot will not harm it. But before the creature can strike, one of the pursuing Reapers suddenly explodes, its body scattering in a storm of metal debris. At the top of the hill, Nina stands with a rifle loaded with cobalt magnesium rounds. She fires again, each bullet igniting another internal detonation until both machines lie in ruins. The wreckage leaves no doubt there is no organic life inside. Only engineered killing machines incapable of climbing past a certain altitude, controlled by something far beyond Earth. Together, Will and Nina return to Lost Gulch. Hunter runs into his father's arms, clinging tightly as if afraid to let go. The settlement gathers, watching as Nina raises a skull-marked flag, the signal that a Reaper has been destroyed. For the first time in years, the radio crackles with voices from other colonies. Communities share the news, pass along the method for crafting cobalt rounds, and realize they can fight back. After 3 years of living in fear, hope has returned. Days later, at a quiet memorial by the river, Will and Nina carve Katie's name into a bullet casing and set it gently in place. They vow that her sacrifice will not be forgotten and that it will inspire the fight ahead. Together with a group of volunteers, they spend long hours training, honing their aim, and perfecting the new cobalt magnesium rounds. Before long, a small strike team descends from the mountains into the lowlands, determined to hunt the Reapers on their own ground. From high above, distant flashes light the horizon, each one marking another machine reduced to wreckage. One calm night, Will and Nina stand side by side, gazing through a telescope and sweeping the sky. A faint green light drifts across the atmosphere, moving slowly like a falling star. It could be an alien vessel, silent and watchful, biding its time. The war is far from over, yet for the first time since the invasion began, humanity holds a weapon capable of turning the tide. With unity, courage, and unshaken resolve, they now have a real chance to reclaim their world. So the moral of the story is, if giant killer robots take over the planet, make sure you stock up on oxygen filters, learn some science, and always bring macaroni and cheese for motivation.